today we are going to continue our journey through the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. And it is a pretty exciting section of the Bhagavatam, as pretty much all of them are, but this one has its own flavor of excitement. So I'm just going to share my screen over here. Let's see if you can does it work. Make a portion of it. Just give me a second as I adjust this. Okay, hopefully everyone can see my screen. All right. So today's section is entitled Supreme Beauty and Strength. The Mathura pastimes of the Lord. Get ready to rumble. All right. So we will invoke the mercy of the Lord by chanting Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 44. We'll cover from 24 all the way to 27 this morning. Tathaiva mushtika purvam swamushtya bihatena vai balabhadrena balina talena bihato brisham pravepita sarudhiram udvaman mukhatordita vyasu papato vyapaste vatahata ivangripa. Similarly, Mushtika struck Lord Balabhadra with his fist and was slain. Receiving a violent blow from the mighty Lord's palm, the demon trembled all over in great pain, vomited blood, and then fell lifeless onto the ground like a tree blown down by the wind. It's pretty graphic. It's nice early in the morning. Tata kutam anupraptam Rama praharatam vara avadhi lilaya rajan savagyam vama mushtina tarhyeva hi shala Krishna prapadahata shirshaka dvida vidinasto shalaka ubhavapi nipetatu. Confronted next by the wrestler Kuta, Lord Balaram, the best of fighters, playfully and nonchalantly killed him with his left fist, O king. Then Krishna kicked in Shala's head and tore Toshala in half, and both wrestlers fell down dead. Hare Krishna. There's no purpose to this, so we'll just have some discussion. Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkest of ignorance, and my spiritual master, the torchlight of knowledge, has awakened me from this ignorance. I offer obeisances unto him. I further offer obeisances to all of you assembled Vaishnavas and seek your kind blessings and permission that we may recite Srimad Bhagavatam in your presence. So today, it's a very special day. It's the last day of Kartik month, the month of Damodar. During this month, we got a chance to offer these lamps, and offer our love through the form of these lamps. Even as the weather turned colder in these days, the lamps warmed our hearts and brought spiritual joy to everyone who participated and absorbed their minds in Krishna. If you have not offered a lamp yet, today's the final day of the sacred month, so it's not too late. You can still do it. Please offer one little flame, even if it's like a birthday candle or something, the picture of the Lord. It's a very nice way to offer a meditation to the Lord, and there's many benefits of doing that. So as devotees, our singular aim is to reawaken our deep love for Krishna. When we absorb our minds in the charming pastimes of the Lord, especially during this sacred month, we make tangible progress toward this goal. All flavors and varieties of loving exchange and excitement are available in Krishna and his varieties of pastimes. Everything he does is memorable and thrilling. In this world, we see that there are so many varieties of personalities, of people, of preferences of different types of enjoyment among the different people. And part of our free will that we all have, some freedom, is to make our individual choice regarding what we want to enjoy, what we prefer. And we develop different tastes. For example, some people like poetry and gentle classical music, and other people prefer going to loud concerts, where people, they smash their guitars on the stage. Yeah, it's what they enjoy. Some people enjoy watching a chess game between two grandmasters, while others prefer to see wrestlers beat each other to a pulp. Nothing necessarily wrong with that. It's just varieties. Now, some people prefer to watch movies about romance and falling in love, while others like to watch movies about sports, where the clear underdog wins in the end. There's so many different things that people like, all these different flavors. This is what we observe. We see it in the world. It's a very clear observation. So now in this chapter, Krishna fulfills a variety of such desires. We see how the gopis, if you recall earlier in the chapter, the gopis are watching Krishna's and Balaram's every move, and they're awestruck by their divine beauty. You know how it describes the sweat on their foreheads. It's like dewdrops on lotus flowers. And their tender limbs are so gorgeous, and the gopis can't take their eyes off them for 1 second. So in these verses for today, we find ourselves in the thick of action. See, Krishna has just killed the wrestler Chanura. And now in these verses, Balaram is killing the wrestler Mushtika. At the start of the chapter, we see that the gopis who have also come along to Mathura, they're seeing everything, and they're petrified to see this matchup between the delicate teenagers, Krishna and Balaram, who just entered their teen years. They're not very muscular. Their arms are like, flower petals, so soft and gentle. And these are not the kind of heroes that you see in movies that are muscular heroes. These are the more of the romantic, the very pretty heroes. Like in some movies, in the Indian movie theater, they call them chocolate heroes, where, they're not the action type. They're just more of the, poetry reading, singing type of heroes. So that's what they look like, just delicate, very soft, tender teenagers. And they're like, how is this even fair? You're matching up these delicate teenagers against these mountain-like, muscular, professional wrestlers. Right? So here in this painting, if you look carefully, right, we can see some of the gopis in the background. That this gopi is fainting, the other gopis are catching her, and then there's another gopi hiding behind. Maybe that's Mother Yashoda hiding behind Vasudev, or something like that. So I can't watch this. They're saying. This is impossible. Now, I remember when I was a little boy, I grew up in Kenya, and we used to have on TV these wrestling matches. It was called professional wrestling. And there's this incredible characters with various themes. These wrestlers were huge. And I couldn't believe that any human can have such muscles like that. I was maybe like 7, 8 years old. And there's one guy called the Warlord. This was back in the 80s, actually. And then another guy called the Undertaker. You probably have heard some of these names. And they would have a referee in the ring. But sometimes, with the referee, things really got out of hand, and they would pick up chairs and beat each other up with them, and so for many years, right, I really thought this was a bona fide professional sport. It turns out the whole thing was just scripted entertainment. So everything we see in this world, all these different kinds of sports and games, everything we see in this mundane world is a dull and perverted reflection of the spiritual pastimes of the Lord. That analogy in the Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna says that that the opening of the 15th chapter, that there is a banyan tree with its roots upward and its branches downward. And he's giving the analogy of how the material world is a reflection, upside down, topsy-turvy reflection of the real world, which is the spiritual world. In the material world, we only have access to certain glimpses of the spiritual world. But what we think is real, what looks more real to us, is actually the unreal reflection of the real. So the entertainment we have in the mundane world is a perverted, dull reflection of the spiritual pastime of the Lord. The entertainment available in the transcendental association of the Lord is the original, far more superior version of the lower things we find here. In the Bhagavad Gita, in chapter 2, text 41, it says, Vyasayatmika buddhi ekeha kurnandana bahu shaka hinantyascha buddhaya vyasayana. That those who are on this path, the spiritual path, they're resolute in purpose, in one focus, right? Singular focus. The aim is one. And, O Arjuna, the intelligence of those who are irresolute is many branched. Okay, so you probably know, it's a very famous verse. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains a very important point. He says a strong faith that by Krishna consciousness, one will be elevated to the highest perfection of life is called Vyavasayatmika buddhi. So Vyavasayatmika, intelligence. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, it says, Shraddha Shabde Vishwasa Kohe, Shuddh Drida Nishchay, Krishna Bhakti Kaile, Sarva Karma Krita Hoy. So faith means unflinching trust in something sublime. When one is engaged in the duties of Krishna consciousness, he need not act in relationship to the material world with obligation to family traditions, humanity, or nationality. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu describes, or he explains the meaning of the word Shraddha or faith, Shraddha Shabde, the word Shraddha, Vishwasa kohe shuddhrida nishchay, that one has a trust, a deep trust, and shuddhrida nishchay, a strong determination. Of what? Krishna bhakti kaile sarva karma krita hoy, that if one engages in Krishna bhakti, Krishna consciousness, sarva karma krita hoy, everything else gets done, in the sense that everything gets taken care of. You won't miss out on anything. And when he says everything gets taken care of, he's not just talking about the bare minimum of having a roof over your head and having, some food to eat. He's saying everything gets taken care of, including our heartfelt desires to be thrilled, to be entertained, to have that level of fulfillment and engagement and happiness and variety. All those also get taken care of. You don't miss out on anything. You don't miss out on Nintendo or PlayStation or Netflix or anything like that, because those are actually dim, perverted reflection of the real stuff. That's what Shraddha means. But we don't dive into Krishna consciousness fully, and we hold on to these other things because we don't have that full Shraddha, that single point intelligence to understand that Krishna Bhakti Kaile Sarva Karma Krita Hoy. All our varieties of desires, even what someone may call weird desires or silly desires or childish desires, doesn't matter. Everything gets taken care of in Krishna consciousness. Taken care of meaning you get a sense of fulfillment. All those pots of nectar are available for us. We just have to lift them up and drink to our full satisfaction. See? So in the same purport, Prabhupada says, when one is situated in Krishna consciousness, all activities are on the absolute plane, for they are no longer subject to dualities like good and bad. The highest perfection of Krishna consciousness is renunciation of the material conception of life. This state is automatically achieved by progressive Krishna consciousness. So this notion of progressive, Prabhupada uses the word, progressive Krishna consciousness. And I've used this term in the company of the Bhakti-centered devotees, because I consider all of you to be very progressive devotees. From the interactions I've had with all of you, I can see that you're serious, you have a taste, and I'm hoping that some of that taste rubs off on me as well, and therefore I enjoy your company in association. And this progressive Krishna consciousness is that, okay, I may be wherever I am in my level of attachment to matter and my level of, but progressive means we start shifting that ratio more and more and learn to fulfill all our desires in the absolute realm of Krishna consciousness. So having desires to see exciting wrestling matches is not a problem. Having desires to see romantic stories unfold with all kinds of intrigue and ups and downs and thrill is not a problem. Having desires to watch these thrilling underdog winning sports stories is not a problem. Everyone we see in the world is doing it. And it's very natural. But the thing is in this world, every mundane story, in every one of these movies and every one of these descriptions and storylines, the hero is not worthy. The hero is not worthy. The story is not worthy of our attention or our time. But the Srimad Bhagavatam being the literary manifestation of the Lord himself. Literary. And literal even. You can say literally that's Krishna. And literarily it's Krishna. The Srimad Bhagavatam is worthy of our time. It is glorious, and daily hearing and recitation of it lifts our spirits while also satisfying the different varieties of desires for thrilling entertainment. There are so many ways we can approach reading the Bhagavatam. Or we may have so many motives to try to get something from Bhagavatam. I may want to learn about God and the reality of the soul and who am I and why am I here and all that. I want to understand the world and how it is created. I want to figure out the causes of unhappiness in me and among those around me, and how that unhappiness can be mitigated, how it can get real joy in life. I may want to master the various philosophies of the world, the different schools of thought. I want to understand how society works. I want to develop a nuanced knowledge of politics and power, warfare, social dynamics. Or I want to appreciate fine artistic poetry and music and dance. I want to get absorbed in thrilling romance and stories of chivalrous heroes rescuing fair maidens. Or I want to see professional wrestlers getting beaten to a pulp. It doesn't matter. It is all available in the Srimad Bhagavatam. And it is all purifying, uplifting, and fulfilling. We saw in these verses, right? Let's go back to some of these verses. It was like amazing, right? So prior to this, when it says similarly, right? Similarly means prior to this verse, Krishna had just killed Chanur, wrestler. So now we're focusing, the camera focuses on Balram. But similarly, Mushtika struck Lord Balabhadra with his fist. So now Mushtika is other wrestler, beat Balabhadra, Lord Balaram. And then now the gopis are seeing that the fingers of the Lord Krishna and Lord Balaram, they're so delicate. And they're meditating on them. And they're really afraid. In the Gopi Gita, a few chapters ago, the gopis sing Chalasiyat Vajam, Charayan Pashum. They're meditating that when the Lord goes into the forest to graze the cows, it breaks our heart to think that Shila Trinankure, Sidatitina, Shila Trinankure. Trina means grass. You've heard this word Trina, like Trina the Pisunichena. You should be more humble than the grass. So that same word is there. Shila Trinankure. Trina means grass. And Shila means the like hard rocks. So the gopi are thinking these little grass pieces are like hard rocks for the tender souls, the beautiful pinkish, reddish, tender souls of the Lord. Now, they said, Shila Trina Ankure. Trina, first of all, grass is not so hard. Okay, it's pretty okay. But they're saying Trina Ankura, the budding, soft, like the bud of the grass, the baby grass, which is even softer than regular grass. Ankura means just a budding. They're saying, they think even that Ankura is like a rock in front of the feet of the Lord. And we want to clear them. And it hurts our heart to see that he's going to step on even one of them. What to speak of all day long walking along those kind of things. So this is how they're thinking of the Lord's feet. So you can imagine what they're going through when they see these massive muscular wrestlers, grabbing the Lord's arms, and they think, oh my God, and his tender fingers. But then on the other hand, they see that when the Lord, takes his fists and punches these wrestlers, it's like they're struck by thunderbolts. So he says, receiving a violent blow from the mighty Lord's palm, the demon trembled. Just one blow, all it took, right? And the demon trembled all over in great pain and vomited blood and fell lifeless onto the ground like a tree blown by the wind. So you can imagine how much relief the gopis must have felt, how much amazement they must have felt that, wow, Balaram and Krishna, these tender teenagers. Amazing, mind-blowing. And then, of course, a couple other wrestlers left over. So there's the wrestler called Kuta, Lord Balaram. He says playfully and nonchalantly killed him with his left fist. So here, when we say left fist, means it was so easy. It's a left-hand job for him. It's a very common phrase we use in India also quite a bit. It's a left-hand job. He didn't need to use his right hand for it. The left hand is considered generally weaker. Even that, just whack him and kill him. When Krishna lifted Govardhan, he lifted with the left hand. Just to show, and even that, not even the whole hand, just the pinky. So just to show that for me, this is left hand job. That's his glory. And Krishna kicked in Shal's head and tore Toshal in half, and both wrestlers fell down dead. This it's a pretty violent thing to see, but hey, first of all, all these demons, got liberation. And second of all, when you expect, these demoniac wrestlers to easily win, and then they get killed and just totally ripped up, it just adds so much more to the thrill and the satisfaction of winning. We have stories like this in movies and novels all over the place. But when Krishna is in the center, that excitement is transcendental. And the more we think about it, the more we disentangle ourselves from the lower tastes of this mundane world and absorb ourselves in the higher taste of Krishna consciousness and lift and purify the soul. So this is the glory of Srimad Bhagavatam. And as we work our way through it, let us pray to the Lord that we never forget him. That these very intense stories, they're very intense stories. It's pretty graphic. And if we can allow our mind's intelligence to wrap around these things and let it create a deep impression in our hearts of Krishna and Balaram, Supreme Lord, doing all these wonderful things, then what's going to happen is that toward the end of life, when we are trying to remember the Lord, it'll not be that hard to remember the Lord. When we see someone talking about wrestling, immediately our mind will go, oh yeah, but Krishna's wrestling, that was the best. When we see someone talking about some romantic stories or some, husband-wife fight. Oh yeah, I remember Krishna had a little fight with Satyabhama, his wife. Or he would argue with Rukmini, This is the joy and the glory of Srimad Bhagavatam. The more we absorb ourselves in these stories, the more they will save us in the end, because even an offhand comment or someone just talking about somebody else, if we learn to connect that with Krishna, then toward the end of our life, when we're leaving this body and our life flashes before us, there's a very good chance that these images will flash in our consciousness. So if we pray when we chant that, my Lord, please let this image always remain in my heart, right? Even in this Namadharashtakam, Varam Deva Moksham Namokshavadia. I don't want liberation. I just want one benediction, that may this image of Lord Damodar remain in my heart. And that meditation is the ultimate joy for the soul. And the other ups and downs of life become, largely irrelevant, because they are. They're not worth getting too worked up about. It's a short life and a long eternity to look forward to. So let's prepare for the long eternity by absorbing ourselves in these beautiful pastimes. So thank you very much. I'll pause here. It's 7:45, just in time. And if anybody likes, you can kindly contribute. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Madana Gopal Prabhu. What do you think Krishna's wrestling nickname would be? Liberator?
The Liberator is a good one, yes.
Liberator, yeah.
Yes. He actually has a name.
The Undefeated.
Mukunda.
Yeah, nice.
Mukunda, it means the liberator.
What's the Undefeated in Sanskrit?
Yeah, the Undefeated would be
Ajaya, no?
Ajaya, that's right.
Yeah.
Ajaya Krishna, that's right. That's one of them. And there's another one called Avinash Krishna. Avinash means the indestructible. There's so many names like that.
What about the cheater?
Yeah. or the stealer, Hari. We
the
say,
thief.
Yeah, the
thief. He'll rip your soul from your body.
Yes. Yeah, so you can see he ripped apart some of the wrestlers, right? Toshala, he just ripped him in two pieces. So yeah, the Ripper. Yes, it'll be pretty cool to have this. So we can get ready to rumble and really in our hearts.
And Balaram could be left-hander.
Yes.
Okay, Damodar Priya has something, maybe hopefully serious to say.
Thank you. I actually had a question. It's hard to admit, but I try to attend Srimad Bhagavatam class every day. My husband reads to me from Srimad Bhagavatam before bed, or Krishna book during Kartik. I try to kind of have that, having a relationship with the scriptures. However, I'm going to admit that I love watching things on Netflix, and I will find myself watching shows on Netflix. You know, we have Amazon Prime too. Yeah, like guilty as charged. So I don't know, like, is there hope for me? Because I honestly still find that very entertaining. So I'm just wondering, like, is there hope?
Very good question. And there are a variety of angles on this. Okay. And as with anything in Krishna consciousness, there's a spectrum. There's a more liberal one, there's a more conservative one. And so depending on who you talk to, you'll get different kind of recommendations and actions. Is there hope? Absolutely. There's eminent hope for you, in my opinion. When we take our vows to, you know, for initiation and so on, you know, it's like no meat eating, you know, no, you know, like that. So there's those vows we take and we chant 16 rounds. Okay. So Netflix isn't necessarily breaking those principles. That's one thing to look at it. Second, it's possible to use what we watch and see to understand the world and to see that, oh yeah, you know, sometimes we have to go through a particular, say, kosher sense gratification to realize, hey, you know, it's not that great. It doesn't live up to its promise. Sometimes we have to go through it to be convinced. And other people, they're already convinced. They don't even bother with getting subscription. So it all depends on where we are on the spectrum, right? It doesn't matter. All of us fall on, like I said, we all have a different ratio of how much we're attached to certain things and how much we're attached to Krishna. But the fact that you do regular Bhagavatam Katha and you hear, that is always in your favor, right? And that is a very strong thing to do. One who hears regularly, it says Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, right? Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya means all the time or constantly. But Nityam can also be translated as daily. So even if you do it daily, it counts as all the time or regular. So the more we do it, the more we lose taste. So it is a matter of getting a higher taste, you know. Krishna says, Rasavarjam Rasopyasya, that one who develops the higher taste will gradually lose the taste for lower things. And so that's our aim, you know. Otherwise, yeah, we do have a need to be entertained, but it takes a little bit of skill to find that in the pages of Bhagavatam. It's unfortunate that in this day and age, because our attention spans are so small, and we have become, say, even intellectually lazy or atrophied, that unless something is dancing in front of our screens or moving, we can't really absorb, we can't really get the impact of it in ours. Like if I were to read in black and white, you know, and it's not the same as watching a movie, you know, like full screen in IMAX. It's not have the same impact on the senses. But if we get the taste for reading properly and hearing it, or if we hear from devotees who are very good at explaining it, or, you know, like really getting you into it, that's also a good thing. Like you can watch on YouTube. Some devotees are really good at giving these classes where they really take you into the Bhagavatam, you know. There's many kathakars like that. And so we can probably start shifting a little bit more. And so if I allocated, say, 8 hours of Netflix for this week, let me change it to 7 hours Netflix and 1 hour of find a good speaker on Bhagavatam and just kind of do 1 hour of Bhagavatam speaking and see if I can do a taste for that. It is a bit of it's an addiction. Okay, we have to admit it's an addiction. Like Prabhupada was asked, Prabhupada, you know, I'm smoking all these cigarettes, I'm doing 4 packs a day. Prabhupada says, okay, from next week, just do 3 packs a day. Now, Prabhupada told somebody to smoke 3 packs of cigarettes. It doesn't mean that we're going to start smoking 3 packs. It's just that for that person, you know, go from 4 to 3, and then gradually by that time, you know, after 1 month, you should be totally off it. So maybe we can have a 3-year plan. Okay, in the 3-year plan, I'm going to have from 8 hours a week to coming down. At the end of 3 years, I should be doing no more than 1 hour a week of Netflix, and then cancel subscription because it's really getting very expensive, you know. So you know, I mean, we can have a plan like that. But it's all about higher taste. You don't want to keep our heart in a vacuum. Otherwise, what happens? We feel frustrated. You know? So you have to be a little careful there too. You know, it's a gradual thing. Thank you for your question, Hare Krishna.
Bhima Prabhu and Jamuna Jaya had her hand up.
Jamuna Jaya had her hand up.
Oh, hi, Krishna. Thank you so much for class, Madana Gopal. I really just want to reflect on something you said so beautifully at the end of class, that a lot of times we are preparing for a long life, and you said preparing for a long eternity. And that was just it's such a great way. We spend so much time thinking about the material longevity of our lives, but we don't think so much about the other thing. And so just, I love the way you said that. So I just want to reflect back to preparing for a long eternity was just such a beautiful way to put that. So as always, such a wonderful class. Thank you so, so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for the comment. It's sometimes I reflect on this. We are so used to thinking of just this one life. You only live once. That's like the thing that they say YOLO, or even a TV show called One Life to Live. It's like one of the longest TV shows ever running. It's one life to live. It's not true. We get so absorbed in these things. We start putting wallpaper on our hotel rooms. Who puts wallpaper in the hotel rooms? We're going to be here for 4 days. No, but we don't realize how long, we only here for 4 nights. We don't worry about the curtains and the wallpaper. So that's the thing. We don't need to worry too much about this one life. Focus on the main life. Thank you, Prabhu. Bhima Prabhu has his hand up.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Bhima Prabhu.
Hare Bol. I'd just like to say in regards to Damodar Priya's question and honesty, that obviously we all have various distractions we do to entertain ourselves. I can only personally speak from my struggle, that I have gained a bit of ground traction in regards to not falling prey to these distractions by changing my schedule. When COVID started, I started going to bed at 7 and 8 o'clock and rising at 3 a.m. And it was no heroic feat. Of course, if you get enough sleep, it's not that difficult. But you'll find you will never want to watch TV or Netflix or be entertained by anything less than something in the mode of goodness. Oh, stop it. Sorry about that. I'm
What
walking
was
the
your
dog.
entertainment at 3 a.m.? What is it?
Amazingly enough, I find sadhana to be the only thing I can engage in at 3 a.m. I have many books, whether it be fiction or poetry, from all walks, from all modes. And the only thing that is palatable for me at that time in the morning, 3 and 4 a.m., 5 a.m., the only thing that is palatable, this is not due to discipline, this is not due to desire, but just like you don't eat candy in the morning, you just can't. You can't eat, you can't eat heavy food first thing in the morning. So your mind, the Brahma Muhurta hour, by way of experimenting, it sort of forces you into that contemplative state. And that was very quickly my next point, was that what Prabhu was saying about that Krishna consciousness fulfills us, all these desires to be entertained, this desire to be immersed in something, to lose oneself. That's a great reason why we watch Netflix or theater, is because we want to lose ourselves in the action. We want to live another life. And you can't do that in Krishna consciousness unless you're still, unless your senses are still. We always talk about sense gratification. Watching Netflix, of course, is a form of mental and stimulation. It's and it keeps us restless. There's another show called The Young and the Restless. So it keeps us in the mode of in the mode of passion. It keeps us restless. Truly, we don't eat certain foods because they're in the mode of ignorance or in the mode of passion. When you watch something on TV, it's eating. That's your consciousness eating. what goes into you must come out of you. What goes into you, they say you are what you eat. You are also, your consciousness is what you watch, what you pay attention to, and what you are activating those dopamine pleasure centers in your mind. So anyways, we can't do it. We can't do it alone. We can, in this world, I'm in New York City now. You can't help but have your senses bombarded. But the way out of it is to rise when no one is awake, when there's nothing pressing on you, when there's nothing calling on you, there's no children calling on you, there's no work calling on you, and there's only one person calling on you. And you'll find that, Krishna, I found that I'm very receptive to the things that Prabhupada told us to do at that time in the morning. It is truly the answer. Early to bed and early to rise makes us healthy, wealthy, and wise. That there's never a truer statement than that. That's just what I'd like to say in regards to how I overcame that. Because anytime I ever wanted to watch something, it was always in the evening after a long, hard day, and all you wanted to do was veg out. So instead of vegging out, I would just get into bed, open up a Bhagavatam, because nothing will put you to sleep faster at night than reading the Bhagavatam. But when you wake up, you went to bed with that in your consciousness. That was the last thing you did, was to read a story about Krishna kicking some butt in the arena. And then you go to sleep, and that's there, and then you wake, and like, it's all of a sudden it's like, well, how did he do it? Yeah, he wrestled and he kicked, and he was the first MMA artist. Krishna and Balaram, were the first MMA. Now that we're starting to find out that the only true combat sport is utilizing all forms of arts at once, and that's what Krishna and Balaram, of course, were first on the scene to do. So all of a sudden, these things become very exciting in the morning because you're clear and the modes aren't pressing on you. You are forced into the mode of goodness, and just try it out. It's a hard thing to shift one's life from go to bed real early and wake up real early, and you watch everything that you thought was hard to do will become easy to do. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Great comment. Thank you, Bhima Prabhu. I absolutely agree with everything you said. Fantastic. And yeah, it's just about making time and reprioritizing our time, and then shifting. If we're addicted to a certain thing, there's a way to shift, like Prabhupada recommended. And even in the middle of it, say you're watching something, you're watching the British baking show, right? So you're watching something, it's fine. I love watching British baking show. You watch it 3 times a week or whatever it is, and it's fine in the sense that, okay, I admit I love watching it. I'm addicted to it somewhat. I'd rather be doing Bhagavatam, but I like this. Okay, fine. Even while watching that, can we link it to Krishna? That's the thing. This is the cool thing about Bhagavad Gita. If you read Bhagavad Gita and you see where Krishna is, he says, I am this, I am that, I'm of mountains, I'm this, and among abilities, I am the ability in man, he says. So the abilities of people to do amazing things, like making cakes, is Krishna, and making cakes with a British accent is even more amazing. So that's like, those kind of things, when we see, and wow, mind-blowing how much talent these people have. Imagine how Krishna is kind to them. So now you have Krishna connection there too. So even in our middle of it, our addictions or distractions or diversions, if we can connect Krishna, then we can uplift ourselves. All right, I think it's time for Darshanarthi.
On the shows, I'm British baking. Netflix. Hey, dear devotees, turn on your cameras, fix your hair if you have any. Take off your hats, Bhima Prabhu. Take darshan.
Sadhu Kala Tipahasha Govindam
Good morning, Big John. Arjuna Prabhu, Hare Krishna. Okay, this was the class. Thank you, Madana Gopal Prabhu. Very nice, relatable, entertaining class. Thank you so much. Very satisfying. Damodar Priya Prabhu, do you still have desire to watch Netflix after this class?
No, because I have to finish my japa. So,
Yeah.
well, I still have japa to do. No Netflix.
Nice. Yeah, that's a good way to do it. Okay. Adipusha Prabhu, you wanted to say something? Unmute yourself.
Actually, you cannot deny that this movie industry is a very highly developed and absorbing and entertaining and excellent presentation. The costume, the music, the dialogue, the actors, the scenery, it's just wonderful. So, but these things,
Blood.
what? These things can,
Artificial blood.
you're echoing and
Okay, all right. Keep going, Adi.
as soon as you stop talking, I'll talk. Okay, so the thing is that these things, I could see that she could become a movie producer, that she could aspire to make a Krishna conscious movie, because this medium is so powerful, and it can be used. And I know thespians, devoted thespians, they watch these films, they pick up vocabulary, they pick up intonation, acting styles, they pick up costumes, they pick up themes that have been not quite brought home, cross the T and dot the I, and brought home some. See, these films are very attractive because they have a grain of truth in them about the human condition and about what we're all grappling with. But we can make even better movies using what. So they're studying. She should study. I encourage her to study these films and to aspire either to personally produce or to assist in the production of Krishna conscious films of this caliber, and uplift society with these films, because it is the best thing. And it's motivating. For example, when you go in a car wash, they put a hook under your car and they tell you, take your hand off the wheel, put the car in neutral, take your foot off the brake, and you get dragged through the program, right? So when you go onto these programs, these television programs, or these, it's like you're putting your mind in somebody else's hand. And so the mind is not, you no longer have to control your mind, you're absorbed in thinking of what they're thinking of, and picking up some kind of value or lifestyle that they're recommending. So this is very powerful, and it can be used. Everything can be used in Krishna consciousness. Airplanes can be used, computers can be used, Netflix can be used. We don't throw ourselves out. We don't throw it out. We figure out, okay, there's some attractiveness here. How can I use this in Krishna's service? How can I use this to push on Lord Chaitanya's mission? And I believe that Krishna is calling her because she's appreciating something valuable there.
How about Bhakti Bacon show, Bhakti Bacon contest?
Can you hear?
Adi will be the producer.
I was appreciating Adi Purush Prabhu's comment about using the creativity that we learn about this classical music and all these different things, how they put it together to make a movie. And so I use some of those like soundtracks and scoured, different soundtracks and put together like the Nrsingadev drama a few years ago. And I've shared the link here. It's on YouTube. You can watch. I've shared it in the comments if anybody wants to watch it. And it's like a 35-minute drama. It's pretty cool. But it really helped a lot. And I even used we even composed like a Broadway style song with Krishna in the center. When Prahlad is preaching to his classmates and he sings about it. So made it somewhat of a musical. But all that, I would not have been able to do that if I hadn't been watching movies when I was a kid. So I learned a lot from this. There's definitely something we could leverage and use for sure. And we used it in Krishna's service, and it's being appreciated. So there's definitely something to be said for that, for sure. But at the same time, there's also something that now realize, okay, at this stage in my life, it's better for me to shift my ratio. And I've watched enough movies. It's okay. It's all the same after a certain while. Maybe a little bit. Just watch a little bit at a time. That's fine. But now I would get serious and focus more on Krishna and be more like Bhima Prabhu. Like, I don't have time for this stuff. Yes. No, thank you. These are wonderful perspectives, and I think they're all very positive and spiritually progressive, which is why I like this circle of devotees, because you all have such progressive angles on everything, and and openness and honesty, which is important. Hare Krishna.
One more comment.
Sure.
One of the things you mentioned is, it says that if you engage in Krishna service, you have no obligation to family members, the demigods, the government, that everything is taken care of if you engage in Krishna service. And devotees really grapple with that, because we have families, we have parents, we have relatives and dependents and relationships. And it's interesting how to navigate, how to apply that principle of, if you just engage in devotional service. But of course, all those things can be engaged in devotional service. And there's
tell my wife that.
Tell Bhima's wife that. There's one Buddhist aphorism. It says, your mother, she bore your body within her body. She fed you with her own blood. She suffered the pains of childbirth. When you were an infant, she saw that you were safe, that you were warm, that you were fed, that you were protected. Your mother, if there was food, she gave you the soft food and ate the hard food. If there wasn't enough food, she fed you and went without food herself. Even when you're far away, your mother is thinking of you. How can you repay your mother? How can you repay your mother? Can you give 1,000,000 gold coins in charity? Can you cut off parts of your body and throw it into the sacrificial fire? And then it says, the only way to repay your mother is to give yourself completely to the Dharma. Yes. No other sacrifice will actually repay that debt. So engaging in devotional service is very valuable and beneficial for all our relatives. And it's tricky because sometimes the relatives are demanding, come here, do this, we want you to do that, we want you here, you're going away, I'm losing my son. I told my mother, Mom, when an Italian kid gets married, they don't say you're losing his son, they say you're gaining a daughter. So you're not losing his son, you're gaining the whole Hare Krishna movement as part of the family. Anyway. All glory to Prabhupada. Maybe that comes.
Yeah, there's a particular context to those statements too. Like, it says you don't owe the demigods, you don't owe, your forefathers. And if you're not a devotee, you have to do very specific, pindadan and certain shraddha ceremonies as a person to pay, as a human being, to pay back all the debt of your forefathers you owe to demigods, because you do owe them all that. And that's all listed in the Vedic scriptures. But if you become Krishna conscious, that kind of covers all that anyway. Everything gets taken care of. Like there are certain companies, if they're very rich companies, if you become an employee of that company and you have to move, say from New York to California, whatever, right? And they will pay for every aspect of your move. And some companies are so liberal, and then you tell them, hey, my mother, she also needs to take care of, and she lives here in New York, and I can't leave her here. They say, okay, fine, we'll move her too. and we'll pay for her apartment too. I mean, there are companies like that. We'll give her a corporate apartment. It's now that you've joined this company, you don't need to worry about anything else. Don't need to worry about your mom. We'll take care of it. That's what Krishna is saying. You don't need to. It's not that you're gonna break your relationship with your mother. It's that he will support it. Now that you're under Krishna's umbrella, everything gets taken care of. Doesn't necessarily mean you have to now be negligent. It's just that he will support everything that you do. And even if you don't do it, Krishna takes care of it. And the real payback comes when they are at the end of their life, even though they're atheists or whatever. When they are transitioning out of this body, they will see the difference. They will see that, oh, you Vishnudutas here for me. Who are you? Well, your son, he's become a great devotee of Krishna. And so the part of the family benefits package that you also get liberation. What? This is it's right here on the paper. If you want to see it, ma'am, you can sign it. We're going to deliver it. And this is how it works. This is what Krishna is saying. So maybe they may not appreciate what you're doing right now, that you left them or neglected them. But, in the short lifespan that we have, but in the long run, they'll get the benefit.
Thank you, Madana Gopal Prabhu. Yeah, Krishna is in charge of the biggest and the most liberal corporation there is. And Krishna will send his corporate representatives when you or your relatives need them. Okay, Bhima Prabhu, just finish it off. We all have to go through.
Madana Gopal Prabhu, what is the Sanskrit for whatever a great man does, the rest will follow?
Yes. That's in Bhagavad Gita. Yes.
Okay, so that means I can watch baking programs now, because whatever a great man does, others can follow. So so next time I see a vegetarian baking program on, I can always be reminded that you have approved.
Yes, just like how Prabhupada approved the smoking of 3 packs of cigarettes. Sure,
Yeah, next time you see a pack of cigarettes, think of Prabhupada. That's what
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Happy Sunday, everybody. Go to the temple, dance, chant, feast for Krishna, and come again tomorrow. Hare Krishna.